There are two other entanglements. The second one I call as hidden loyalty. Whenever there has been a victim-perpetrator situation in the family system, where either the victim or perpetrator belongs to the family, and that dynamic has not been brought to a closure, then somebody later on in the family stands up in place of the original victim or the original perpetrator. When I say stands up, what I mean is unconsciously, that is why it's called hidden loyalty. Unconsciously, since they have received that energy from that system, that will play out through their life as well. And so they end up being a victim in their own life or start acting in a way as though they are a perpetrator. So oftentimes the family is left perplexed, the family is left wondering, how did this kind of a person show up in our family, because there is nothing about our family that indicates or that accommodates this kind of behavior or situations like that. So inevitably this is because someone has gone unacknowledged and someone's pain has gone unhealed. So that kind of pain starts to repeat itself in the following generations of the family. So an example would be, say, someone was the black sheep of the family. So an ancestor made a choice, opted for a partner, for example, or made a choice of career, for example, that was not approved and accepted by the family at that time. So that person by default becomes the black sheep of the family. It's like the family is saying, no, this is not allowed in the family. This kind of behavior is not allowed. This choice of life partner is not allowed. We will not allow it. So love is withheld. Love becomes conditional. And through that process, that individual becomes a victim. So then the chances are that similar situations show up in future generations of the family, where those people are also making life choices that becomes difficult for the family to accept. So regularly, as a pattern, a certain family may have members choosing to marry into another religion, or choosing not to marry at all because their choice of partner was not approved, or going into some kind of a self-sabotage pattern because they are carrying the wound of that person back then who was rejected, who was not approved, who was not allowed. Because we need to remember that when we are talking about love or prana in this context, we are talking about unconditional approval for the choices you make for your life. Unconditional approval and support. So when love is being withheld and rendering that family member a victim, or when love is withheld because a certain family member's behavior was not approved and that member was deemed a perpetrator of sorts, whatever the dynamics may have been in that generation at that time, if it has not been addressed, it will tend to repeat itself. Typically, another example, classical example of this kind of an entanglement is when there is a perpetrator in the family. Usually I've seen this happen in landed families, people or families with large lands. More often than not, this possession of land has come at the cost of someone else being disowned of their land. So accumulation of land has happened at the cost of someone losing out. especially if there are large pieces of land, what we typically refer to as landlords. There is inevitably a victim in that scenario. So, someone in the family system could be standing up for that victim who was not acknowledged, that victim who was dispossessed. Hence, someone in the family will start to represent that victim and will find it difficult to hold on to any kind of wealth. So this is an example of how it plays out sometimes. This is about the hidden loyalty. So this family member unknowingly is being loyal to somebody who has gone unacknowledged, unhealed. This also classically happens when there have been abortions, miscarriages, early deaths, and these situations where they have not been healed. This too will show up as an entanglement of hidden loyalty, possibly.